Manchester United-bound Ruben Amorim is betraying Sporting CP, according to the club's former vice president. The Red Devils are in advanced talks with Amorim after dismissing Erik Ten Hag on Monday and are hoping to unveil the 39-year-old before the end of the week after agreeing to pay his £8.3 million release clause. News of Amorim's impending departure hasn't gone down well in certain sporting circles, with star players Victor Gyökeres and Morten Hjulmand reportedly confronting the coach about it during a training session on Wednesday. Accusations of hypocrisy and betrayal have been levelled, particularly after several sporting stars were allegedly convinced to stay at the club over the summer after being assured Amorim would be staying too. Ex-Sporting chief Jose Diaz Ferreira went a step further, claiming Amorim was stabbing the club in the back. I have great admiration for Ruben Amorim, for everything he did for Sporting, but his departure leaves me disappointed, he told Portuguese outlet SIC Notícias. As a Sporting fan, I can truly say that it is a betrayal, because betrayal is not just stabbing someone in the back. Betrayal is not fulfilling promises, commitments or principles. The promise Ferreira is referring to is one Amorim reportedly made to the club in the summer about staying to fight for a second successive Primera Liga title, following interest from the likes of Liverpool and West Ham. Last season, Sporting clinched just their fourth domestic crown since 1982, and their second under Amorim. For decades, Sporting have struggled to step out of the humongous shadow cast by Portuguese powerhouses Porto and Benfica. Although they've won a handful of cups and league titles down the years, they've never managed to establish an era of dominance, as demonstrated by the fact that they haven't won back-to-back Primera Liga championships since the early 1950s. After starting the current campaign at a canter with 9 wins from 9 in the league, hopes are high that the Lisbon club can end their 70-year wait for successive titles. But it increasingly looks as if they'll have to do it without Amorim at the helm. Eduardo Barroso, former president of the Sporting General Assembly, said Amorim's departure is like an earthquake and that everyone at the club is devastated by his decision to leave. I agree with the disappointment and frustration. I also feel sad. 100% of Sporting fans are devastated, he said. Ruben Amorim was simply the best coach I have ever seen, and I've been a member of the club for 75 years. Barroso also warned that Amorim's exit could spark a crippling exodus. His departure from Sporting is like a huge earthquake, an earthquake. Earthquakes have consequences. The aftermath I fear most is that players could leave in January, he said. Several Sporting players have been on United's transfer watch list for months, and with Amorim on board, they'll have every chance to lure them to Old Trafford. But his sudden exit may end up burning a few bridges, potentially jeopardising United's transfer hopes. Diogo Dalot is a fan of probable new Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim, but has explained that the players remain in the dark over a possible appointment. With the 39-year-old's arrival set to come in November rather immediately, as had been initially hoped, United are in limbo. Ruud van Nistelrooy is in caretaker charge, doing a fine job so far too, as he oversaw their 5-2 Carabao Cup fourth-round win over Leicester City on Wednesday night. Dalot had a big role to play as he completed the full game in a strong X1 picked, providing the second goal of the night to Alejandro Garnacho with a pinpoint low cross from the right side. Dalot was soon involved as Leicester pegged one back before half-time to cut the deficit back to 2 goals after a ding-dong opening 45 minutes. The ball ricocheted off Dalot and into the path of Conor Coady, who scored the 5 goals in total, 2 from Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, were as many as United had managed in the previous 5 domestic games combined. Their bounce under Van Nistelrooy, which was also demonstrated with the resounding atmosphere for the club legend, will be put to the test against Chelsea on Sunday afternoon. The Blues fell to a limp 2-0 defeat away to Newcastle in the League Cup, while United themselves were winning. A large portion of the team likely to feature at Old Trafford were rested though. Van Nistelrooy now appears all but certain to be in charge for the match after a delay in appointing a permanent replacement for Erik Ten Hag this week. That is still expected to be Amorim, and Dalot had some good words to say about Sporting CP's head coach. Obviously he's a good manager, compatriot Dalot said, speaking after the win over Leicester. However, United's players are in the dark over what comes next. We don't know if he's coming, we see the rumours, like everybody see it, but we will just focus on what we have here, doing our job and what the future brings. "We'll be ready." Dalot is one of few players signed by United in recent years who look to have improved under Ten Hag. He's also someone suited, on paper, to the back three system used almost compulsively by Amorim. The wait is now to see if they will be united together at United in the coming days. Interim manager Ruud van Nistelrooy has said Manchester United's players were given some space to gather their thoughts following Erik Ten Hag's exit ahead of tonight's Carabao Cup clash with Leicester City at Old Trafford. Ten Hag was axed by United on Monday morning, less than 24 hours after watching his side lose 2-1 to West Ham United in controversial fashion at the London Stadium. Van Nistelrooy was placed in temporary charge and is tasked with trying to improve the mood at Old Trafford after a run of just one win in 8 matches. Van Nistelrooy, who is a huge fan favourite, returned to the club in the summer as part of the decision to shake up Ten Hag's coaching team. He is now focused on attempting to lead his team to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. Speaking to MUTV pre-match, Van Nistelrooy said, "We had to deal with a day like yesterday and give the players some space to get their heads around things and their emotions. Then they needed to switch their mindsets to performing, and that is what we did today. We wanted to focus on seeing an energetic and attack-minded performance, having a lot of the ball, and attempting to give the crowd a great night." It has been a couple of days of mixed feelings, Van Nistelrooy added. "When you see a colleague go, it is a big disappointment. Erik brought me in, and in the first conversation we had, what struck me most was the passion he had for Man United, and I experienced that with him. He was really fighting for this club, for the supporters, and that was what brought us together." Ruud van Nistelrooy's brief time as interim manager became a chapter in Manchester United's story, a reminder of the club's resilience, its ability to endure hardships, and its unwavering spirit. He led the team with dignity, humility, and an understanding of what it meant to wear the United badge. Whether he would stay on or eventually hand over the reins to a new manager, his impact was undeniable. As he looked out over the pitch after that first victory, Van Nistelrooy couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the club and its supporters. His journey from revered striker to interim manager was unexpected, but it was a role he embraced wholeheartedly. In the end, he wasn't just leading a team, he was carrying forward a legacy, bridging the past with the present and laying the groundwork for a brighter future. The news had arrived like a gust of fresh air through the halls of Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim, the innovative and determined Portuguese manager, was coming to Manchester United. After a whirlwind of speculation and recent setbacks under former head coach Erik Ten Hag, United's hierarchy made the decisive move. They weren't just looking for a coach, they were in search of a leader, a visionary to bring stability and creativity back to the club. With Amorim, they found their man. Fabrizio Romano, the football insider, whose words are gospel in the transfer market, confirmed it. Amorim had agreed to take the reins at Manchester United, with the club willing to pay his €10 million release clause to Sporting CP. The timing couldn't have been more crucial. United had a critical Premier League clash against Chelsea in just a few days, and the club was hopeful that Amorim would be on the touchline, marking his debut in one of English football's marquee fixtures. Ruben Amorim's managerial journey began at Sporting CP, where he quickly transformed the club's fortunes. Known for his dynamic and progressive tactics, Amorim led Sporting to their first league title in nearly 2 decades, ending a drought that had weighed heavily on the club and its supporters. His emphasis on youth development, disciplined press, and inventive attacking schemes won him accolades, and it wasn't long before he caught the attention of Europe's biggest clubs. Amorim's success at Sporting CP wasn't just about results, it was about philosophy. He built a culture that prioritised unity, hard work, and adaptability, instilling confidence in young players while keeping a balanced approach with seasoned veterans. He crafted a winning environment that was resilient, adaptable, and forward-thinking, a model United desperately needed. Now, as he prepared to bring his vision to Old Trafford, Amorim knew the scale of the challenge, but he welcomed it with open arms. The plane, carrying Ruben Amorim, touched down in Manchester amid a wave of anticipation. The United faithful were excited, but cautious tenures of previous managers had taught them to temper their expectations. Still, Amorim's track record, charisma, and tactical acumen brought a renewed sense of hope. Outside Old Trafford, supporters gathered, and within minutes, images of Amorim's arrival were circulating on social media. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Amorim was whisked away to Carrington, United's training ground. There he met with key members of the club's hierarchy and got his first glimpse of the facilities that would become his base of operations. A formal press conference was planned for the next day, but for now, his focus was on familiarising himself with the squad and understanding the challenges they'd been facing. The buzz at Carrington was palpable. Players were eager to meet their new manager, who was known for his ability to motivate and inspire. Young talents like Alejandro Garnacho and Mason Greenwood, along with seasoned pros like Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, were eager to see how Amorim's philosophy would reshape the team's playing style. Amorim's first meeting with the team was scheduled in the Carrington Auditorium. Dressed in a sharp suit, he looked every bit the leader United needed. As the players filed into the room, the atmosphere was tense yet filled with curiosity. When Amorim finally addressed the room, his voice was calm but confident. "I know the weight of this badge," he began. "I know the expectations, but I'm here because I believe in this club's potential. Together, we're going to turn things around not through luck, but through hard work, discipline and passion. I'm here because I believe in each of you." There was a sense of relief among the players. Many of them had felt the uncertainty that lingered under Ten Hag's final days. Amorim's clarity and directness gave them something to grasp onto, a clear vision of what was to come. He spoke about his footballing philosophy, emphasising ball control, aggressive pressing and quick transitions. He made it clear that under his leadership, every player would be expected to give their all, regardless of their reputation. The timing of Amorim's arrival was critical. United's next match was against Chelsea, a formidable opponent, and he had only a few days to prepare. Amorim and his coaching staff immediately got to work, analysing footage of recent games, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the squad, and identifying key areas for improvement. United's defence had been leaky, and the midfield struggled to maintain control. Amorim's focus was on tightening these aspects while unlocking the potential of his attacking players. In training, Amorim introduced new drills that emphasised quick passing, spatial awareness and communication. He wanted the players to play as a unit, to move fluidly and create space for one another. His sessions were intense, demanding total focus from everyone involved. Players like Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes began to see the game in a new light, encouraged to make daring moves and trust their instincts while staying true to Amorim's disciplined framework. As matchday arrived, the atmosphere around Old Trafford was electric. Fans filled the stands, hopeful that Amorim's influence would bring about a positive change. The players felt the weight of the occasion as they prepared to face Chelsea under the guidance of their new manager. Ruben Amorim's arrival marked a turning point for Manchester United. His fresh perspective, tactical acumen and belief in the power of teamwork breathed new life into a club that had been searching for direction. The road ahead would be challenging, with obstacles and fierce competition, but Amorim was ready. He wasn't just managing a football team, he was leading a movement, a revival of Manchester United's storied legacy. With Amorim at the helm, United's future shone bright. The fans, the players, and the club itself felt a renewed sense of purpose. A new era had begun, and with it came the hope that Manchester United would once again stand at the pinnacle of English and European football.